My name is Jalyn. I'm a lactation consultant, and I'm also a mom that breastfed her 2 children, and I breastfed them for 2 years, 2.5 for the first and 3 for the second. So I definitely know how tough it can be, but I also know that it can be a great experience overall, especially when you have support. And that's one thing that I try to encourage moms about is just reach out for support. This is not a situation where you need to be super mom or try to figure it out and DIY everything. So this is really for pregnant women. And my mission is to get pregnant women to come into breastfeeding just a little bit more prepared mentally. I think that plays a big part in success, breastfeeding success or lack of success is just not being prepared mentally for how tough it can be, how intense it can be. So that's what I'm going to talk about. How to make breastfeeding not suck. I think one thing that's important is to start off with a goal in mind. I hear a lot of moms say, "Oh, I'll breastfeed for a year. I think I'm going to breastfeed it for a year because that's what everybody says. You're supposed to breastfeed for a year, so let's go with what's the trendy thing to do." But that doesn't work for everybody. And it's better to be realistic based on your situation and your temperament, your environment, your support, taking all those things into consideration when you're creating a goal. So 6 months might be your goal, and that's okay. 3 months might be your goal. I think that makes more sense for a lot of people, is to start off with a short goal or small goal. And then once you get there, then you can move up from there. Okay, I'm at 3 months. That wasn't so bad. Let's try 6. Oh, that wasn't so bad. I think we can get to a year. So creating a goal is super important. I always think of breastfeeding as like a marathon. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So sometimes when you're running a marathon, you just got to finish. You may not be able to run all the way through. Sometimes you'll have to walk. Sometimes you'll have to take a break and start back and still finish. And so with breastfeeding, it's like sometimes you have to supplement. I had to supplement when my daughter was about 9 months. And I look back on that and I think, I wonder what happened. Because my son, I never worried about it. But I also didn't go back to work. I was a stay-at-home mom. He just breastfed. I never pumped. My daughter went back to work at 4 months. I wasn't taking care of myself, wasn't eating properly. I was stressing out about working and trying to balance everything out. Oh, and I also had started birth control. By 9 months, it was this is all I got. And it was enough for her to breastfeed, but it wasn't enough for me to try to pump milk for her. So yeah, I ended up having a supplement at 9-10 months. And I was ashamed, oh, I'm just doing this in secret because I'm in the breastfeeding field. And nobody wants to hear that a breastfeeding specialist is supplementing. Oh God, that's horrible. But you got to do what you got to do. So again, sometimes you just have to finish. So if you have to supplement, do what you got to do. If you have to get milk from someone else, I know someone who went back to work and her supply fizzled out, and she got donor milk from her cousin or something. Hey, whatever works for you. Some of us need to pump for a little while, take a break. Especially those first couple weeks or so, if you're in a lot of pain or it's just too intense, too much, you have to take a break. And so some moms decide to pump for a little while. Some decide to pump exclusively because they need to have a little more control over the feedings. So just finish. Figure out what your goal is and figure out how you can finish whatever you need to do. It's not all about the milk. It's not about the quantity. It's about the quality of time you spend with your child, the bonding. The nutrients are going to be there whether they get 2 ounces or 20. But I will say, though, that there are a lot of tools. There's a lot of gadgets out there these days that I'm a little jealous that I wasn't able to take advantage of. There's all these different pumps and there's ways to do it. There's ways to breastfeed. And pumping is breastfeeding because if it's coming out of your breast, it's you're feeding from your breast. So regardless of whether it's directly or not, it's still breastfeeding. But yeah, there's so much support available. There's so much physical support, emotional support out there, you should definitely check out Be Her Village. Their motto is something like, you need more support, not more stuff, right? So build your registry with the support you need. So if you need a doula, you can put that on there. If you need a lactation consultant, if you need a breastfeeding class or childbirth education class, if you need a postpartum doula, if you need, I don't know what else they have on there. But if you're pregnant or if you know someone who's pregnant, send them to BeHerVillage.com and encourage them to check it out and start building their registry around support, because, you know, like most of the stuff we spend money on, most of those gadgets and stuff, either you don't end up using it or you end up wasting your money, or you should have invested that money on stuff that was actually going to help you. Postpartum doulas, like, man, like that, to me, that's one of the, besides the lactation consultant, because I think those are important too, but postpartum doulas are like super important. And so just think if you spent $400 getting 20 hours of help in the house over the first 2 weeks versus a $400 stroller. Like, your baby doesn't care about your fancy stroller, but your baby's going to care if his mother is happy or not, or if his mother can function. And that's what helps you with. It helps you function. It helps you not just survive. It helps you thrive. So yeah, check out Be Her Village. If you are interested in some of my services, I have services listed on there, and you can start building your registry that way. And basically you can send your friends and family to the website, and then they can pitch in money, donate money towards one of those services that you've listed on there. So if you want to spend $400 on a postpartum doula, Aunt Sally can pitch in $100 towards that, and Uncle Barry can pitch in $50, whatever they want to do. So I think it's a great service, and hopefully more women, more families will take advantage of it. If you have insurance, your insurance may cover 3 to 6 lactation consultations. If you go to the website, you can see if your insurance will cover my services. If not, I think it's still worth the investment. I don't care who you go to. Get the help you need. Don't struggle. Don't stress yourself out when you don't need to. If you have any questions, send me a DM, email me, whatever. I'm happy to help. All right. Bye.